This is the #1 podcast for Black millennials, baby. You are locked into the Culture Caviar podcast. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. And now here are your hosts, OT, Brianna, and Jeron.
Oh, welcome, Craig. All right. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a long day. So, welcome to another episode of the Culture Caviar podcast. This is Spooky Szn, and this is episode 3. In the building with me, I have my boy Jeron. Say hey to the people. Big Yer. And then I have that was a good one.
That was a real good one. Hit an octave.
It was real solid. Yeah, he was ready for that one too. He was waiting. I could tell.
He's like, I can't wait till you say my name.
Right. I'm gonna turn up on the ass. For real. And then I have, as always, the lovely Miss Bree.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
Yeah, Bree is coming off of Alabama A&M homecoming.
I just chugged out that Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so tired.
I know. It's okay.
I'm here, though. You know.
Hey, if you like that.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. Damn it.
Period. Because as you should. Right. And I know y'all are hearing the voices in my head, but it's not a voice in my head. That is the voice of my good friend, a very close friend of mine, Miss Nadia Givens. You can give some claps. Yes.
What up, y'all? What up?
Oh, and then you came on here full Memphis, real Memphis today. Yes. I have real 901 in the building with me today, in the makeshift studio, in the Caviar studio today. Nadia does have a degree, and she also is the host of the Christian Millennials podcast. So you guys should wait.
It's the Millennial.
She's the host of the Millennial Christians podcast.
We recorded since May, so
I know.
Am I still the host?
Are you?
Yeah.
Maybe. That's neither here nor there. We can let y'all decide.
Absentee.
Oh, it's okay. Culture Caviar, we took so many breaks, man. We took like a 3-month break, and then I added Bree. We took a month break. We do whatever over here. That's how it is. Millennials running a podcast. So, as you guys know, this is Spooky Szn. This is episode 3. I brought my friend Nadia over here because she is the spiritual guru. I said the Christian Baptist. You are Baptist, right?
No,
Christian Baptist. She's not. Oh. She's not Baptist at all.
I'm just a Christian.
She's just a Christian.
Just a believer.
Just a believer. She serves as like my spiritual God a lot of times, and I feel like she was the perfect person to come on for our episode today. This episode kind of focuses on, we've been doing our spooky thing all season, so this episode focuses on ghosts, the spirit world, and how does that tie into like our religious beliefs and things like that. Stop.
What am I doing?
It's okay.
Are you just not used to having something?
I'm not, and it's so weird. Myself. Yeah.
Be still. I'll be really quiet. I'm a ghost.
Chill, because I felt haunted last night. So, all right, Jeron, Bree, let's go ahead and jump into our scary movie trivia, and let me have that pulled up because y'all did so well with scary movie trivia last time. So I hope you guys are ready for today. Let's give y'all a very easy question. Sorry. You said what? No, you weren't. Okay, very easy. Oh yeah, we do have a birthday coming up, October 15th, right?
Gang.
Yeah, and then Bree's birthday just passed, October 6th. So I am stuck recording. It was October 6th.
No, it was not.
She said
it was the 9th. If it wasn't, that was between her and God, because that's what he told me. It wasn't. Was it the 9th?
She just said it was.
No, it wasn't.
Did you not just say that?
When was it?
October 5th.
Wow.
Yeah, we both wrong over here. Loud and wrong over here. Oh well. Well, as you can see, this is what happens when you're a Taurus recording with a bunch of Libras. So,
Gemini.
okay, so you're safe too. So, first question, very easy one. What is the name of the villain from the Saw series?
Easy. That's too easy. Next.
Come on, some people might know that. Who you got? Who you got? We got Ghostface, Leatherface, Hannibal Lecter, and Jigsaw.
Okay.
I'll let Jeron answer, and I ain't gonna answer.
This is a tough one right here. This is a tough
Who was it, Jeron?
one. I think I'm gonna have to go with D's. Say Jigsaw.
Oh, okay, Jigsaw. Yes, it is Jigsaw. Okay, because I'm like, what in the world? All
That was
right.
a tough one. I ain't gonna lie, that was a tough one.
No, it wasn't. I said it was gonna be easy. All right, let's up it a little bit. Let's see. In the 2017 film It, how do the Losers Club defeat Pennywise? Remember, 2017 film.
Is that the part 2 or part 1?
Oh, I'm not giving hints. Do you need answer choices?
Yeah.
I would like answer choices.
Okay. They stop being afraid. They grow past a certain age. Pennywise only frightens children. They chopped off his head, or they leave the town of Derry.
Let's say, hey, because they grew out of him, he wouldn't have came at him in the second one.
Yeah, and not all of them left the town.
Yeah, Mike stuck around for a bit, but he was the only one. He was the only one that kind of remembered everything that was going on.
As he said in the town.
So how did they defeat him? How did they defeat Pennywise?
Stop being afraid. Technically, in the whole entirety, they made him feel smaller and insignificant. But according to this question, how they defeated him, damn, I'm trying to remember when they was kids. They stopped being afraid ultimately, but yeah, I guess they did leave town in order to get away from it. But yeah, Pennywise never stopped scaring them.
So they stopped being afraid. That was how they defeated them. So Jeron was correct. Essentially from part 2, at the end, as you like, if you can remember, they were throwing out all these insults and all this stuff. So that was them not being afraid of Pennywise anymore. It's like, you're stupid, you're silly, you're fat. There was like insult. They was literally throwing out insults at this man.
Except for kids.
It really was like that. I'm like, how you gonna beat Pennywise? Just insulting him like with little petty stuff like that. Nah, if he was in Memphis,
Man, look. Pennywise was in Memphis, dog would have got checked. You understand me?
can you check Pennywise right now?
You know I've never seen the movie.
What?
Why? I don't see.
Oh my God! Dude, let me show you my boy Pennywise.
What he look like? He the clown, right?
Yeah, he's the clown.
Mike,
Like you are.
I ain't scared, Mike.
Heck no. I'm
Yeah.
staying his win. I ain't got the George Jefferson hairline. I don't know. Look like he been rolling around in hot Cheeto dust. My boy forehead ashy as a fool. This man.
You don't disrespect
He
Pennywise.
live in the sewer, don't it, bro?
Pennywise.
She just gave him a classic Memphis check right there. That was classic checking from Memphis. He do look like somebody's uncle. Okay.
Stressed out.
Nah, for real.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of scary movies, so I'll just check people. That'll be my participation in it.
You should. And in some cases, that's the best way to like stop dealing with fear. It's like just check them, like just insult them.
Conflicting? Are we bringing
Yeah,
therapy into
yeah.
this?
That's what I do. That's what I do.
I'm cool with it.
Okay. Okay. So, are you two familiar with the movie Happy Death Day?
He did.
Sort of, kinda. I seen it in bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. Okay. Well, this should be a very
That
interesting question.
when that girl is like stuck in the loop.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog's Day for death, basically.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So, in this 2017 thriller, Happy Death Day, I can't read today, where time repeats itself, what does the main character have to do to kill her villain? And since y'all said y'all had a little trouble with it, I will give y'all answer choices. There is find the piece to the puzzle so time repeats itself. live her life in constant repetition, keep on dying until she solves her own murder, or wake up from the dream she is having.
Keep dying until she solves her own murder.
Okay. Jeron, what do you say?
Say I agree with Bree.
I'm gonna say A. Oh,
That was correct. Oh, you were close.
that's not my.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So we have keep dying until she solves her own murder. And so in the movie, the whole thing is that she's dealing with the death of her mom, and she's like still having some guilt and stuff about that. So spoiler alert, she has to basically figure out who is her actual killer, but she's also dealing with little instances and moments where she's like changing her character throughout the story. So in the typical time travel and time loop story, you have that trope where I have to reinvent myself and become a better person, because at the beginning of the story she was a bitch, you know. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest.
I still fuck that dude.
You said what?
Fuck that dude at the beginning.
She did, and then she treated him like trash, but he ended up helping her a lot the rest of the movie. So it was
That's
pretty
actually a really good movie.
it was really good. It was really good. I mean, it had to be good since they did a part 2. Really,
Yeah,
I didn't see part 2.
I just recently watched it. It was good.
I might have to add that to the Caviar Club movie of the day. Oh yeah, I've been doing a movie of the day. It's like every other day, because Jesus, that's a lot. Okay. Oh, that's too easy. Oh, this one should be good. So if you are a fan of the Blair Witch Project, if I'm not mistaken, this should be from the original. So in the movie, The Blair Witch Project, the friends embark on a journey into the woods to solve the mystery of quote unquote Heather. What do they find as the first clue, which they will later regret? Answer choices are a pile of rocks, a bundle of sticks, a note from Heather, and a bloody knife.
Found. I want to say a pile of. Nah, that ain't it. It was a bundle of sticks.
Jeron, what you think? I know you probably ain't seen it.
I
I
haven't
know.
seen
It's
it.
either
so
a
I'm
pile
gonna
of
take
rocks or a bundle of sticks. It was a pile of
I'm
rocks.
gonna take the educated guess,
You gonna go with my answer?
and I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go with your answer. See, this is why. No, I'm gonna say B. A pile of sticks.
what I
I'm gonna
said.
agree with Bree.
That's what she said.
What I said.
That's exactly what she said. And that is correct.
Literally what she
That's
said.
correct. They found a bundle of sticks.
I'm really smart though. I'm really smart.
Yeah, I would get a point to Jeron because Bree wasn't sure anyway. Jeron,
Wow, well, I've gotten all of them right up until now. He's been biting my.
you did. You have gotten them all right.
It's that hangover.
Easy as hell.
Hangover,
I don't
man.
have a hangover.
Oh, I do. Okay, all
You were
right.
out late last
Yeah,
night.
listen, I didn't get home till I got home at like 3 a.m. Didn't go to bed till like 4. It is what it
It was
is.
us on Friday. We got in at 3, went to Waffle House at 4, got back around like 5, got up at 8, drank again, and then started again.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to get over being drunk is to get more drunk. Is logic.
It's biologically true.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense.
The dog, the hair of the dog that bit you.
But the hair of the dog that bit you. What is that?
It's a saying. In other words, you're curing yourself by what hurt you. The hair of the dog that bit you. The old saying.
Oh. That sounds like some voodoo.
No.
Is that a spell? You think it's a spell? It's gotta be. The hair of the consume the hair of the dog that bit you, and you shall receive fortunes for the rest of your life.
Kind of accent. What was
I
that?
don't know. I kind of just added some. I kind of freestyled on the end. So this, you know what? Since we're kind of getting into voodoo and the spiritual, let's go ahead and jump into. So Nadia, do you want to kind of tell people what you do, or did you want to kind of keep private life private, as far as like your role in the church and stuff?
So this is what I do. Alright. So, like OT said, I do have a degree. The backstory to that is when I met OT, he thought I didn't have a degree. He thought I was like a college dropout.
I did.
He thought I had a kid. He thought I was a single mom out here. which I'm not. That was just my niece, who I love very much.
That looks exactly like her, by the way.
She does, but I do have a degree. My degree is in behavioral health science, and my master's degree, second one, is in clinical mental health counseling. So I work with the brain and with emotions and feelings, but I also work in the church. And I am simply not a pastor, OT, like he likes to call me.
That's why I said I'm gonna let you explain. That's why I
just
said
a
I'm gonna let you.
Minister of the gospel. I love Jesus. I love people. I love to help people. That's what I do. But I am pretty well versed when it comes to theology, the history of religion. I'm not the type of believer that's going to Bible thump you. I'm pretty well educated when it comes to a lot of different things. So I kind of think that's why OT brought me on.
Definitely.
When you asked me to be here, I was like, this has to do with spirituality. There's no reason why I would be a part of unless he's bringing in something that had to do with religion. So we're going to dive into some of this stuff today. And hopefully I can answer your questions. I'm going to try to be as educated as I possibly can. And
the M is for Memphis.
Listen, because the M is for Memphis.
The
most beautiful land in the world.
If you're looking for golden finds at reasonable prices, check out Fool's Gold Thrift, where we have something for every style. www.foolsgold.com.
Our first question, I think I'm going to jump right into. So, do ghosts and spirits exist? And let's frame it in like the religious and biblical aspect of it. So, I'm going to start with Bree and Jeron first. So, what do y'all think?
I saw something, literally, I think it was on the end of one of the Conjuring movies, and it said, how can you not believe in like spirits and stuff when 1/3 of Christianity is spirituality, or the Holy Spirit, like the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit is 1/3 of your religion. So, but yeah, definitely, I believe angels, demons, all that stuff. I don't think that you can believe in one without the other. So I think that's just like as plain as I can put it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Like, you can't believe in one without the other. And like me as a kid, I always tried to like be like that. I'm like, nah, if there's God, it ain't nothing evil out here too. Like, it ain't nothing out here. Like, but as I grew older, you did kind of learn that there is a balance. Like, all things exist in balance. So where there is light, there is darkness too. And in some cases, I feel like you need a element of both in order for things to operate the way that they should. So, Jeron, what you think?
Definitely, for sure. Because with all the spiritual things that go on in the Bible, I just can't see how them talking about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost that there are ghosts and spirits. And based on like experiences that I've heard from other people, everything, and some of them just seem just too real for them to be like joking.
Yeah.
So, I definitely believe that there are spirits and ghosts out there.
For sure.
Yeah, Nadia?
I mean, I have to concur. I have to agree. And honestly, even though I've been in the church my whole life, and similar to what OT said, I always was raised like, no such thing as ghosts. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how we believe in the Holy Ghost? But, this, as you grow older, you learn things for yourself. You learn to study for yourself. But I do believe that in order to have one, you have to have the very simply explain yin and yang. You have to have the equal opposite. You have to have the balance. There's a reason for all of it. So denying that it's true is honestly why? What does it do to deny it? So regardless if it has Christian background or some sort of religious structural background to it, they definitely exist for sure. Yeah. In my opinion. Can't say for sure.
Yeah, can't say for sure, but yes, in our professional's opinion,
I think with the Black community, we don't want to believe in ghosts because it's like, oh, if you thinking about ghosts or anything is negative, you in the demonic and stuff now. So it's just like, but I mean, like you said, yin and yang, there's going to be good and bad. So it's just like, just because you believe in God don't mean that the devil ain't come up behind you ready to rip the rug from underneath your feet. So
because what's the point of me believing in God if there's not somebody out here trying to make me stop? I mean, like,
yeah, that's real. Like, hey, I mean, it is Caviar Sundays right now. It's Caviar Sunday, right? Really tapping into some deep stuff with this topic that I didn't think it was gonna be that deep. But when we just started talking about it, I just have these moments where I'm thinking like, man, you truly have these times in your life where it's like I'm focusing on myself, aligning myself with the word and the Lord. And then you get those random moments where it's like, wow, it's like a dark cloud is over me. There's really forces that exist that honestly attack your faith in a sense. And and so you can't truly believe in all of that enlightenment of the Lord and the power and faith of God when you're denying everything else. Because
what's the point of enlightenment if there's no
right?
Like I don't have nothing
there
to
it
be enlightened.
is. There it is.
It's keeping me from the light.
Mm-hmm.
It's equal opposite. It makes sense, logical sense. So, I mean, I feel like you just answered your own question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I mean, I stuff. Have you had some of those like spiritual enlightenment moments or those like paranormal experiences that you really can't explain? Have any of y'all had those experiences? Like, I know for me, one time I was driving, and I'm gonna let you talk, Bree. But right now, but Beyonce had the coldest video, the best video. But one day I was okay. Yeah, I'm on this wine too. Jesus Christ.
I thought that was water.
No, it's not water. Not close to water. Holy sand water. It's sand water. So I was driving one day, just to get back on topic. I was driving one day and I just burst into tears and just a moment of like pure euphoria. I've never been able to like explain this level of happiness and joy and resolve that just came over me like instantly. Literally had to like pull over and just like see, breathe, those spirits touching you. I just saw it.
No, it's Macy back here with me. I think she relieved some gas.
Beautiful baby.
Oh, it's a dog. Yeah.
Folks be like, "Oh, it was the Lord."
It was the Lord.
No, I think
the Lord came into the room.
Touching me, and you just ate some bad burritos.
Yeah, she was relieving some gas. That's all. Made me jump.
Before I leave, I just want to stop blaming everything on God. Like, stop putting everything on.
It was the Lord.
It was the Lord. No, sis. No, it wasn't. That was self-sabotage. That's what it was.
Listen.
So have y'all had those like spiritual moments that you can't explain them to link them to anything?
Yeah, I had a moment like that in undergrad, very similar. I broke down and started praying, and I felt like somebody was in there with me. I definitely feel like it was like a Jesus like wrapping his arms around me type of moment, and just like I love you, everything's gonna be okay. It's like it's never nothing that you can't handle. And yeah, like some things, you come to like crossroads, and you have to decide: am I gonna go out on faith? Am I gonna do it all on myself? And like that was that culmination of like I got this. Like he's with me. I'm never alone, no matter whenever I think I am. So it was definitely a positive, uplifting moment.
Yeah. Jeron, what about you?
I haven't had any experience that deep as far as me busting down and crying. But there have been times where times were hard and things weren't going right. And then I got on my knees and prayed, and I was like, Lord, I know I don't talk to you enough as I should.
It always be like that, bro.
It do. You just got to be real.
Listening.
It's like I know I ain't been here in a minute, but
it's real.
I look to you for guidance, and as time went on, things seemed to work itself out. So.
Then it's my cousin Nadia calling me. That's so funny.
Did I put down?
My bad, y'all. So I have my guest Nadia on here, and I have a cousin named Nadia.
I was like, is it the spirit? Is it?
It's those spirits. It's those spirits. It's that spirit.
It's just
FaceTime. So you can't blame everything on the Lord. But the Lord was speaking, and He knew I needed to hear. But Jeron, that's real, and I feel like for me, I've had a lot of those times where it's like, God, I know I hadn't came to you enough. But I know the last time I had that feeling, that's when I said I'm gonna make it a habit to like, spend some time with them, as much as I can like each day. So when I think about it, like I pray in the mornings, and Bree knows that like I used to have trouble with like praying and even just making decisions. I used to flip a coin if I had a decision I couldn't
You
get
said
through.
used to, like you don't do that no more.
Yeah.
You don't do it no more?
No, I actually don't. No, I just go with it. I just be
Wow.
like, what it is, what it
Yeah.
is now.
You had a
Yeah. Well,
full-on
counseling helped
debate
too.
with-
So
Oh,
Yeah, that debate with your
therapy,
line brothers
man.
about that one, that was a good one because I couldn't understand. I understood your logic. I do that
Mhm.
sometimes because I'm very indecisive and I'm just like, you know what? It ain't that deep. I'm gonna flip a coin. It is what it is. But you, oh my God, it was.
please tell me a story. Please.
So
I
okay,
don't
so
even
all right.
know. It's just like everything. Like I got to consult the coin. I was like, nigga, what?
Yeah, it was the
So
magic
it's
conch for
like-
me. It was like the magic
Yeah.
conch for me.
Yeah.
So-
and then it was like a fate thing. If the coin said it, no,
It was fake.
chance.
Yeah.
It was not
'Cause-
fate. It was just probability. That's all it was.
Literally.
I mean-
gravity. It's gravity.
Think about it like this. We can't prove the existence of God and, you know, Christianity beliefs
The
and stuff like
physical
that.
sense.
Yeah.
And right, but we believe it in a metaphysical sense. Like we have a whole spiritual place that we can send our souls and our minds to get that enrichment and enlightenment. So for me, that is kind of like what I ended up attaching my life to. I'm not saying I attached my life to the decision of the coin, but if you believe in fate and you also believe that God is still guiding your life, you know, wherever you're supposed to be, then God is speaking to me through this coin. Like
The coin.
I don't know where I want my life to be, so God is like, here's a tails, and whatever it land on, that's what God wanted me. Don't worry about. Don't
Well,
worry
now
about business out there.
Now I'm the coin.
Nadia is the
She
coin
calls
because
me
I consult.
friend.
What do you think?
I don't know. Until let me go pray about it. Come back to you.
See, I let her do all the prayer.
It definitely does.
But I let Bree and Jeron do all the hard decisions for me. Like every time, what do y'all think? And they be like, "Oh, Tia looks good," and I'm like, "But what do y'all think though?" Like,
In other words, tell me.
tell me what the Lord is supposed to tell through you. Like,
I mean, I'll tell you if there's something like, oh no, you need to change that or no, because I'm be honest with you.
Yeah.
But like, it was interesting with that coin, and I got your concept. Please believe me, I understood it. I just didn't agree.
yeah.
So I just.
I mean,
couldn't-
it's okay. Like, but that's not what I work for. Like, I don't work to change the opinion. Like, I had to stop doing that because like I will argue about anything.
Well,
whether it's
argue
right or
with a
wrong.
brick wall.
Well,
I will. Like, and that wall gonna understand at the end of the day. You know what?
No.
It's not gonna understand.
I'm glad you stopped doing it.
I did. I had to grow.
You know what? You know what
So-
that is? What is that?
What? What's that? Growth. Shout out to Insecure returning October.
Day.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that date? Remember that date? Bet.
uh,
Bet.
oh.
I'm gonna remember that.
Your birthday. I remember your birthday, Brie.
Bet.
October 5th.
My screen froze. So back to the podcast. Should so given that most of us, I would say that we're a nice collective group that kind of grew up around church and around the word and things like that. So do you guys think that the things we've learned in the church, the things we learned in the Bible, things we learned from our older members of our family who are more versed, do you think that plays a part in what we fear or don't fear, like within the world and within our entertainment?
No, I'm gonna say no.
Mm.
I'll say no.
Mhm.
I don't. I guess because I'm not well versed in the Bible. I mean, my
Mhm.
family instills certain morals, but nah, it don't. It's not that it scares me. It's not like, oh shoot, I didn't follow that verse in the Bible. Oh, they gonna get me. No, I don't. It's not like that. But I definitely try to use it as like a guideline of how I should
Mhm.
be as a being. Use it as a. I don't weaponize it. I guess that's the easiest
Yeah,
way I could say it.
yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Because you can invest so deeply into whatever you're putting yourself into that it does begin to strike fear into you when you don't follow. Like you follow a regimen so hard that any divergence from that, you're like, oh my God, like the world like is gonna end. Like it becomes like superstitious and stuff. And in a way it becomes negative. So I always tell people like, you know, it's okay to believe what you want to believe. Like have a boundary to where it doesn't like ruin you in a sense, like ruin the essence of your being, you know, to like not follow it. But I feel like when you think about when I ask this question in my mind, I'm thinking about like in horror movies and entertainment and like in the world, it's like what level of that affects how I view the stuff that I put into myself. And think and like as I've started to like pray more and like invest like more time into my relationship with God, it does kind of affect like what you see. It's like, man, how much of this really affects my personal being? Like seeing all the police brutality and seeing all of the possession movies and exorcisms that are done in movies, like what part of that like truly affects like my character and my spiritual self too, you know?
Told you them X-Men movies start weighing on my spirit heavy. I couldn't keep, and I still watch them, but I didn't like. I used to like watch that all the time, and like after I watched The Nun, the moment I pulled out of the parking lot, I was like, one, it wasn't scary, and then two, I was just like, that was a lot of shit. Like,
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot.
So I was just like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I need to change the type of movies I watch. Like, I can't keep going like this all the time.
I can speak to that. So I grew up in a very Memphis Southern Bible Belt church, right?
Very Bible Belt.
Very much hellfire, brimstone. If you don't do this, you're going to hell type of situation, right? Praise be to God that my family got out of that kind of foolishness, that kind of like, dogmatic doctrine. But the interesting part, and this is where like the history of the movies and stuff come into play, because when OT sent it to me, I was like, okay, let me do a little reading up. The interesting part about like The Exorcist is that it's based in Christian theology. It's like somebody's demon possessed, and now we have to perform an exorcism, or what the church will call deliverance, to get this demon out of this child. But of course, in the movie, it's a Catholic church, which they do things very differently from your typical Southern Black church, or really just any Christian church, because Catholicism and Christianity are not the same thing. And I'm going on record saying that because it is the truth. And it's not because I'm biased. It's just because it's factual. So the way that they do things is really different. So I grew up watching movies and being like, oh, that's demonic. Ooh, like, oh, that's dark. Oh, that's demonic. And the older I got, the more I started to see like the connection between all of it. So if I could just get kind of deep for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I do wholeheartedly agree that for everything, there's an equal opposite, right? For every light, there is darkness. For every good, there is bad. For every moral, there is immoral. And I'm watching these movies and I'm like, yo, there's something being presented on this screen that's a little bit opposite from what I've been taught growing up, right? So, for example, murder. We see murder on TV all the time. And we're typically desensitized to it. We watch this kind of stuff and it just, it happens. And you hear all of these statistics about kids playing violent video games and then they grow up to be violent. And, we see the correlation between the two. Doesn't mean that it's true, but we see the connections, right? So I'm watching these movies, and the first scary movie I watched, to me, it was scary, was The Sixth Sense. Never watched another scary movie.
I love that movie too.
Refused. I went to sleep and I had nightmares for like a week. And I watched, I think I was maybe 15 or 16. And I just remember thinking like, that's the devil. Like that is so demonic. Like all,
You're like on the water boy. That's like, the devil.
The devil. That's the devil. But I had to think about if there really is an opposite of good and bad, if God desires for us to have healthy interactions, healthy community. It desires us to have positive, friendships and relationships with people. If God desires for us to view people like they are human beings, created human beings, you're worthy of love, you're worthy of respect, you're worthy of being treated like a human being. And if the pictures on the screen are showing me something opposite of that, who's influencing these images? And why is it being mass produced in a way that it's being produced for entertainment? You see things in an entertaining way, you're less likely to kind of be like, they got to watch this. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is funny. It was cool. It had some jokes in it or whatever. So I'm more likely to watch it. I'm more likely to digest it because it's put on a screen for me to watch for entertainment. But if I know that God created all of us to have a different type of experience with each other, let's say enlightenment, for example, and these images are dark, somebody got to be behind this. Somebody got to be wanting me to see this for me not to look at OT and be like, he's a human being. It's a reason, and I feel that images are portrayed the way that they are, that cause us to look at our brothers and our sisters in a negative light. And that's not just spiritually, that's just black folks. The reason why we think black on black crime is a thing is because it's been portrayed in the media. But who's behind those images? If God didn't want us to feel that way about people, who did it? And that's been my take on how it's influenced me. And so I try my best to be careful about what I take in, not just in movies, because over time you start to become desensitized to the fact that this is a human being. It's a whole person.
Yeah.
Like, murder's not normal. Feel me? Like, slashing somebody's neck is an average Tuesday for me. It should never be an average Tuesday for me. But I think movies and stuff have definitely influenced the way that we, over time, view aggression and violence and murder and, mass killings. And, it's funny sometimes. Like, Scary Movie, the parodies.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. But when you really get to the nitty-gritty of it, you shouldn't be watching somebody die on TV like that. Not for $13.95 in Malco's. Not for IMAX.
For me.
Expensive for no reason. I gotta pay you to desensitize me.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta break a 20 for you to no.
And then you break it down, and it's like you really breaking down like a lot of barriers within yourself, like taking in some of this stuff. What were you gonna add to that, Bree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I had to change the way I look at. I'm very much morbid in a sense. Me and my friends, we used to be. Don't nod your head like yeah.
That's real.
No, I'm just kidding.
We get it.
My friends, we were into the serial killers. Not into them, but like interested.
No, you like.
I listen to a lot of serial killer podcasts. So yeah.
So
I was interested in that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it was very much, we were like, oh shit, that's some Ted Bundy shit, like, or we would reference it. But when one of my classmates was killed recently, and finding out how badly his body was mutilated, I completely like that whole interest just got wiped away. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, once it hits home, it hits very differently.
Yeah,
it's just definitely, and I'm very much like, I still watch it, but I won't be consumed by it. I'm not watching documentaries on it. About Ted Bundy anymore. It's not something that I'm necessarily interested for entertainment anymore. So like, I'm gonna watch horror movies. I don't watch it, but I very much a matter of fact about it. I'll turn it off and turn it back on at certain times. So it is hard sometimes, for real.
Jeron, how do you feel? Do you feel like the stuff that we take in through spirit a little bit?
So I watch a lot of Pixar. And a lot of
I did cartoons all day.
Movies to stay away from that.
It cleanses my palate.
Yeah, but for the time that I do dive into it, I definitely, it makes me look at it in a different light instead of it just being entertainment and then actually having to realize that this is related to somebody's actual life and things that they've been through. And so I don't dive in it too deep. But I usually stay on the surface because once you get too deep down the rabbit hole, then your mental capacity start messing with you. So that definitely has something to do with me being that fear being enveloped in me.
Yeah, that and that's what I was kind of like saying to you and Nias and Cam and stuff in the chat the other day. Like, I couldn't watch Squid Games for real till y'all told me, like, how deeply graphic it gets. Because for me, like, body horror, that's something I can't watch that at all. I barely get through the Saw movies. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see a human mutilated like that. I don't want to see a physical body going through that, because that's something I know I wouldn't be able to handle that in the real world. I don't even, when I see a car crash, like, I'm not one of those that like slowing down, trying to speeding up, like, if I can. I don't want to see nothing. I'm telling you, nothing like that. And so I do feel like the stuff that media puts out there for us, yes, it is for entertainment, but it's like, at what point does it cross a line? And it also made me remember, like, back in the earlier day, like the early day, like 1700s, 1800s, secular music and and religious music, basically,
spiritual music,
or spiritual music. Yeah, really far back, like to the origins of like music in general. Like, they did not want people singing about certain topics because it went against like the morals and the and the values of the society as a whole, because back then church and religion ruled everything. And so as people, grow and their minds mature and you allow more mental capacity for different ideas, that's when we kind of strayed away from the church is always right or religion is law and everything. So you kind of did separate religion and entertainment. But now it's blended together. You have all of these movies that throw in these religious aspects. And like Nadia said earlier, they're preaching something that is technically wrong. Like, I saw an interview with one of the creative directors for like The Conjuring, and they talked about like how they portray Catholicism in there. They was like, it don't take all of these processes like what they showing on The Conjuring. Like, it take all of that. Like, if it's something need to be done, they do it right then, or just whatever different structural or logistical aspects of it that's wrong, and think about what we take in the media. Like last year in 2020, we watched George Floyd's last moments. That's something we should never have been able to see. And then people marketed that, especially with Breonna Taylor. Her whole name is a multi-million-dollar franchise now. What? Like, so it's like it does cause you to question some of the things that we take in and everything. And I feel like you should have a balance. Like, I could watch a lot of trash reality, but I realized like after a while I was just arguing with people for fun.
With the wall.
That was me after watching Black Ink. I would binge watching Black Ink and then just definitely want to punch somebody in the face.
Yeah.
It gets in you.
It becomes a part of you, and people do not realize that. I see now, I used to be one of those people that when I hear people say like social media is the devil, social media is this and that, all of that, I would be like, bro, like just log off. Just log off. It ain't that deep. And so until one day it became deep for me. And then I was able to understand like, oh, you do take in a lot of like stuff. Like I was scrolling on Twitter and I just saw negative opinion until I started walking around feeling negative and I was looking at stupid. I was like, let me log off for a week, so you have to have balance.
To, like what you follow. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing because my Instagram is like positive quotes, photography, food, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like when I open my phone, I'm like, I'm feeling good about it. But then you have like the just an LA boy, like, those few negatives. So it's
hey, the black male community does not claim Justin Lil Boy. We don't claim him.
Is it LA boy or is it
It's Lil Boy? I'd say Lil Boy. LA boy.
It's LA boy. I think it's LA boy.
Man, whatever.
He's my friend.
Hey,
I just
that
talked
nigga
to
lame.
him. I got on here. That's my homie. Don't disrespect dude. Yeah, that's my dog.
That's because he panders to women. Like everything he does is for women.
I don't know this man, but I hear a lot of things about him.
I'm gonna start sending you his memes.
He used to didn't do that.
Some of it be funny though. Yeah, but when women saw his post, and started like it took off.
See, but that's what social media does.
He got into a niche.
It just go. It takes on a life.
You take on what works best. Like if us talking about strippers and stuff like that gets Culture Caviar, the 10 billion downloads is where we at. We on here talking about strippers. P Valley period. Strawberry Passion. Like
real strippers are P Valley.
Real strippers. Like I met Strawberry Passion when I was 16 in New Orleans at my first strip club.
Is this a true story?
Changed my life.
Yep. Can't wait to review.
Yep.
They sound like a jungle juice. Strawberry Passion.
Strawberry Passion. It was where she wet that pole up. All right. So back to the podcast. So thinking about all of these things that we kind of take in through, media. Do you think that movies should represent religion and spirituality more accurately? Because a lot of the stuff that we get is changed and squandered a bit for entertainment purposes. Do you feel like they should try to educate us a little bit better?
Yes and no. Depends on I feel like the purpose of the film. So if you're trying to like get that point across and you want to be as accurate as possible, sure. But I feel like it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You don't want to disrespect somebody's religion by making a parody out of it. But at the same time, it's your film. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. I mean, we've been like marginalize and misscrutinize the whole film industry. So
Mhm.
whatever you want to do with your religion, that's cool. But I don't necessarily feel like you have to represent it to a T, because
Mhm.
like you got the Pope raping kids. Come on now. So he
Yeah.
ain't the best representation of Christianity all the time. So it just really
Mm.
it depends on the purpose of the film.
Jaron, what do you feel?
I agree. I mean, if it's not your goal to make a film based on religion, and it's just kind of diving into it, and you using it to, I guess, create another plot behind it. It's not related to religion, but you're using religion to move a plot.
Yeah.
I think in that sense, it doesn't have to be. I mean, you can make it. I mean, it's your movie. You can make it what you want to be. But if you're trying to portray something from the Bible or from spiritual stories and things of that nature, then that should be as accurate as you can get it.
Hey, I feel like nobody should be going to a horror movie looking for examples of what Christianity should be like. Not the right place to look for. Like, I mean, I'm gonna go to like talk to a pastor or something that's a little bit more credible. If you looking for, oh, they didn't say that Bible verse correctly, why the fuck are you looking for that movie to do that? Like, why is it that important? Like, it shouldn't be, to me, that shouldn't be the form of representation that I'm looking for.
Nadia? Because sometimes they say people that are like deeply in the church, they say that they kind of like force religion on people. So how do you feel about this like conversation?
I agree that art is art,
Mm-hmm.
and that if your goal is to, whatever your theme, your plot is, put it there, do it well.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe as a creative, I have a responsibility to my consumers. And if I'm going to be incongruent in what I'm presenting to my consumers and then take my hands off of it and say, I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah.
That's me being irresponsible as a creative. Now, of course, everybody's not going to have that mindset and be like, I should care about, the 6-year-olds who are listening to WAP.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole thing with Cardi. She was like, your kids.
I was actually going to bring that up.
Why your kids should be listening at the same time. Get heavy airplay. But who am I to say to tell this woman, well, you should be talking about anyway?
Yeah.
That's not her thing. That's not her thing. You're crossing over between Christianity and, entertainment. But at the same time, I feel like, and I try my best not to get offended when people misrepresent Christianity the way that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair. And the reason I say that is because we don't like when we are misrepresented.
Yeah.
And I think Christianity or religion in itself has been made into such a joke through the entertainment system that when people do it, it's like, ha ha ha. Oh, Dave Chappelle in The Closer makes a whole joke about being molested by a preacher, right?
Wow.
Whole joke. I laughed. I did. I love Dave Chappelle. My favorite comedian. I laughed. And then I was like, oh, why did I? People they actually happen to people. Like, I shouldn't be laughing. It took me a second to come back to it, but it's good. It's good comedy. Let me not say good. It made people laugh. And I was one of those people that laugh, but I'm also a preacher, right? And I'm also a sexual abuse survivor. So much happening there, and I still found it funny. So I think for artists, a lot of times people work that is a representative of their life, and that's not always good. It can be dark, it can be morbid, it could be terrible. But when you're presenting art to an audience of people who may not have the level of education that you have, the level of emotional regulation that you have, may not have access to the resources that you have to really say, maybe I should go talk to a preacher about this instead of, watching The Exorcist. Because The Exorcist had a really extreme impact on the way people view deliverance in the church. Like, there was a whole thing in the 70s called the Azusa Street Revival. There was this man in California, a literate Black man who was leading this religious, what they call charismatic move in California. And people were, seeing spirits and being delivered and seeing the demonic. It was a whole thing that the Christian church hadn't seen before. And this was right around the time The Exorcist came out. So the counteract between what was happening on the spiritual side and what was happening in the media, a lot of people were like, we can't trust Christians, because if this is what y'all doing to people, they weren't even willing to go talk to the pastor. Like, I've seen everything that I need to see. So the responsibility of the creative is to put out But ultimately, I could be possibly damaging who may not have the mind to be like, I shouldn't be watching this. Like, Brie, I think you 100% right. I should go talk to somebody who's actually, knowledgeable about this. 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna do it, and it's still gonna impact them. So, I feel like if you're gonna put it out there, be responsible for the people that you're trying to reach. But art is art, and if it ain't, it is what it is. It's beautiful, and it's worthy to be respected regardless of the form that it's in. But I do feel a little sensitive about the way art impacts people as a creative. So
yeah, and I feel like we should. And as a creative, you just have to know where your personal boundaries are that you're putting. I would never ask like somebody to be on my show, one of them to work and discuss or dive into a topic that they're truly not all the way comfortable with, because it's like you have to realize where you attach to the work that you're putting out. And I feel like it's definitely unfair for society to even put that kind of pressure on like Lil Nas X, pressure on Cardi B, that pressure on Meg Thee Stallion. It's not their job to raise their kids. They're not supposed to raise your kids. They're just entertaining
Them kids, man.
You know how I feel about them kids. We ain't gonna go
That's
there.
bullshit to me.
You know how
I hate
that.
when people say that you over here doing drugs in front of your kids, but Cardi can't talk about wet ass pussy, but you saying that she has a responsibility. Fuck that.
Yep.
Fuck you and everything you stand for. Because I think that is such a hypocritical thing to do. You worried about what they're watching. Why are you letting them watch it? Like, that's just so stupid to me. That's
that part. It has a rating for a reason. It's PG-13 reason. It's rated R for a reason. It's not the celebrity or the entertainer's job to raise your kids or instill more values. Yes, there can be people that specialize in that. Mr. Rogers raised half of the generation. The black fathers we see on TV raised our whole generation. But at the end of the day, it's still all a form of entertainment. You're supposed to take what you can get from it and leave the rest. And I feel like people and I'm not going to go on this tangent, but people put celebrities and artists and anyone in the entertainment, anyone that's famous on a pedestal to be everything. Like, anyways.
they do.
Yeah. So I do say, especially for the people that make those deep rooted movies like The Exorcist, like The Conjuring, like them, Lena Waithe faced a lot of criticism for putting out these images of like black people undergoing this torture from white people, but if you're going to tell the story, I say just tell it right, tell it with facts, and people gonna get what they can get from it at the end of the day. So since we brought up a couple of movies, can y'all think of any movies that did kind of hit on religious aspects in a good sense, or in a, let me say, I can't think of the word, but in a way that could be respected? Because I know The Exorcist, even though it's controversial in that Christian community, do you feel like it kind of still painted stuff in a good light?
I've never seen the movie.
Oh.
Well,
for everyone else on here too.
No, if you felt that way about Sixth Sense, girl, you ain't gonna ever go back to sleep.
No, but I'm sensitive. No, I cry about stuff. I don't got time for that.
Yeah, she sees ghosts and everything. So
I think that the whole Conjuring franchise did well in terms of like religious representation. Like, of course, the movie was about like demons and ghosts and stuff, but on the flip side, like Ed and Lorraine was heavy in the church. They believed in God. They believed in good spirits as well. And like they always brought in like the good energy. Although that was just like
they did.
It was an exaggeration of what happened in those real stories. It was still a good representation, and I like that too. But that, as far as like off the back of my head, that's what I would say, because they always was like, okay, but there's good and there's evil. You always got to believe in God and all that stuff. So I think that was a good like horror franchise that, besides the negative stuff, they gave you the good.
I would agree, especially with, even though The Conjuring 3 wasn't, it didn't hold up as well as the other ones.
Always have
Conjuring movie as a Conjuring. I'm not gonna start the debate. Like, even for me, it wasn't a great Conjuring movie. it was still a good movie though. It was still a good scary movie in the sense of like the plot and the exposition and everything. And I feel like Ed had a good point in that movie because it was like we always acknowledge the existence of God within law, but now let's acknowledge the existence of the devil too. Like it really brought it all full circle as far as like there is good and there is evil, and there are that like if we can do good work and believe in God, there are people that do devil work and believe in the devil. You know, so I feel like movies like that, it did a good sense of at least opening that door to accept it into your palate a little bit. Like, because even though I'm not Catholic, I feel like the movies did a good job of at least opening the door to seeing that maybe some of their beliefs and the way that they go about things isn't as different as what I believe in or what I practice. You know, so I feel like some movies open doors that can be good. Now, when you think about other movies like Hereditary and Midsommar that focus on like cults and stuff, that's when you kind of dabble in stuff that really could like attack your spirit.
Cults are crazy.
Yeah, cults are.
I've done a lot of.
They different. They big different.
My cousin Loki in the cult. It
Oh,
goes sad.
praying for her.
It's bad.
I feel like grad school is a cult sometimes. Grad school is a cult.
Job is a cult.
Oh, it is. Jeron, what you think? Have you seen movies that kind of like at least open those doors for acceptance of like other spiritual beliefs or painted those spiritual beliefs in a good way?
Passion of Christ did well. In terms of
That
horror
movie was
movies,
rough.
yeah,
That
Never
movie
saw
was
that movie
rough.
actually.
wow.
I didn't watch it until my 20s.
Really?
Couldn't do it. And I watched the beating
It was
scene.
actually scary.
I watched the beating scene on mute.
It was actually scary.
I'm sure. My mom
It
watched me
was
watch it.
scary. She did right. She
The
did.
whole body horror thing. Like watching
Again,
people get beat.
body horror.
I couldn't do that. I was like, no,
And
shit.
even aside from that,
Thank you.
they actually depicted the devil in that movie too. And that was because that movie came out in 2004. I was 7 years old watching that. So Matt, I was terrified of like just religion in general at that point. Because I'm like, if I praise God, the devil gonna attack me? I don't want to get attacked by the devil. What? Like that's how I felt. That's how I felt.
But that's the responsibility of the art part. And that's the thing. That's why
Yeah,
it's
I should not have seen that.
art is
That's
so, it's
parenting.
so
That's bad.
beautiful.
I saw that.
The art of movie making, I think, is like the people who do this, the way that their brain works, can never be me. But I think it's amazing what you do.
Mhm.
But I remember my mama saying, you can't watch that.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch The Passion of Christ until I preached my first sermon. I watched it the week before. So I was like, I'm finna be talking about Jesus. I want to watch this. Never again. I'll never watch it again. It just hurt my feelings.
Yeah, it was brutal.
It broke my little chest wide open, and I will never watch it again. But
Yeah, I
it definitely,
haven't
in
seen
my
it.
adult age, it changed the way I felt. Like it did something to me. I can only imagine what it did to a 7-year-old. Like,
Hello, I'm damaged now. So hey, good job, Mel Gibson. Good job.
there's a second. Yeah, I want to watch that though.
I'm sure you do.
Well, he already did. Well, he. I'm saying, just that part is already.
Oh, okay.
It's about
That might be
everything he
better.
did from rose to when he ascended into heaven.
That might be better.
Book of
That might be
Acts.
better.
Anyway,
Jaron, so
Sorry, so sorry.
sorry, bro. So you said as far as horror movies, past The Passion of the Christ, because that was horror for me.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't other than the Insidious series. Well, the Insidious Conjuring universe. I haven't really seen another movie do something in regards to religion as much as that. I seen scenes of Exorcist, but I hadn't seen the whole movie as a whole. And I did see Poltergeist.
Okay.
I don't remember if Poltergeist was developed in religion or not.
Nah, it wasn't. It had aspects of it, like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, it just had some small aspects of it. Because some
It was
movies,
Like a cult.
Old
it
man
was a cult. I'm sorry.
I know that. The old man was. I think they were saying that he was the devil. Yeah, and they were saying he sold them a house, and then they also say that movie cursed because everybody in the movie.
Yeah.
they died.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What movie is this?
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
That's when like the little girl, the 8-year-old,
Yeah.
she died, and then Yeah,
Three
like 3 or 4 people
from
from
that.
that movie died.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They had a
Whoa.
whole thing on E about like horror movie curses. They said Poltergeist,
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist. There's a couple other ones. It was actually really good, but
The
yeah.
skeletons in Poltergeist were real skeletons.
Oh wow.
They were real, like cadaver
Yeah.
skeletons. They weren't fake because it was more expensive to make fake ones than to
Yeah.
just get real ones. They were
Yeah,
like
it's
plain.
really
Yeah.
twisted. Like I
Very
don't know
twisted.
why people.
Gross.
So if
Ew.
that don't tell you that some stuff that we kind of take in and dabble in could really be dangerous for our like selves. Like honestly, just hearing that the commonality between all of the like the darker side of religion, they focus on battling evil with good, you know. So it makes me think about the movies like The Exorcist, like The Omen, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Like that movie traumatized me as a kid because like that was a true case. Like the woman committed suicide basically, and she died in a exorcism. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
That movie is really good.
No,
You
I'm
probably
not.
shouldn't watch it though. That movie was really good though.
I read the Wikipedia page.
It was really good. I think for the concept that it went for, because there was this woman who was considerably a skeptic. She was hired as the lawyer to defend the pastor who did the exorcism or whatever. Because again, the woman died as a result of the exorcism, and so he was basically saying that like she was possessed, like he the killer, like the devil killed her, basically. So
That's false, isn't it? Well, never.
well, hey, I ain't
Never.
gonna go there because I don't want to disrespect nothing that I don't know about. Yeah, for real. So it was a good movie in that sense. I feel like it executed on the concept.
I read the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, you should. But at the time, in 2005, I think that's when it came out. You really didn't see movies that tackled religion in that particular era, because in the 70s and 80s, if you put in religion in your movies, it was definitely gonna be on that darker side, like The Devil, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Omen. All of this is about the devil and darkness and all of that stuff. So you really didn't have movies that kind of the lighter side until we got to The Conjuring and everything, where it's like you got Ed and Lorraine walk in. When they walk in, light just opens up. Like wow, like hello. So we really kind of didn't get that back. Man, this has turned into this was honestly, when I planned this episode, I didn't see it going this way, and I really like the direction we took it. Honestly. So just to kind of throw everybody off a little bit, so I remember me and you did our episode. I don't know if we talked about it on the episode or after. We talked about sleep paralysis.
Oh yeah, we did talk about it after.
Yeah. So how do you feel about, like, at some point in time, I can't remember the exact era, a lot of disorders and everything were kind of linked to religious based crises or crises. What's the plural for moose, Jeron? Meese. It's meese. So at some point in time, there existed a group of people who believed that like a lot of mental disorders, a lot of things that we experience are actual instances of spiritual warfare rather than health. So like, how do you feel like that kind of balances what you do now?
So one thing about that is that's a very Western worldview, because you have to think about other cultures.
Yeah.
In other cultures, talking to ancestors is normal. In other cultures, experiencing it's normal. It's welcome, especially in Hispanic culture. It's a part of everything that they do. There's a very Westernized view of what we call schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, hearing voices or hallucinations. That's a Westernized view. So it's hard to decipher whether or not across the board those are in the mental health field, whether or not those are actual mental health disorders or not. And that's something that I try my best to be very clear about when I'm working with clients, because if they come from a certain culture that welcomes it, I can't tell you like, oh, you crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that anyway, but like, oh, you're schizophrenic because you're hearing voices. But my abuela come visits me all the time. And that's something that comforts me, and if they're not a Christian, I can't take it their route anyway.
Right.
So I actually just wrote a paper about whether or not mental disorders are a result of demonic activity or not. And it was really interesting, the research behind it.
Yeah.
I believe that I deal with anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do, I think, with the devil. I be anxious because I be scared because I think too much.
Mm-hmm.
Period. But I also know that there are very debilitating mental illnesses that cause people to be completely out of themselves, and they cause danger to themselves and danger to other people. I believe that in those moments there is something spiritual attached to that. For the simple fact that Scripture says that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And when something starts to look like death and destruction to me, I feel like it's something spiritual attached to it. Mental illnesses can range from very mild to very severe, but you have a very thin line with trying to tell somebody they possess and telling somebody that they're depressed. It's you have to be very careful, because if I don't ascribe to that, you're gonna sit up here and tell me that the devil done came, But the sleep paralysis thing, like, I think that was a really interesting conversation we had about that.
Yeah, it was. I wish we recorded that.
I feel, did we? Did I cut it off? I think
You cut it off.
It's cultural, it's spiritual, and it's natural all at the same time. And it's a case by case basis on when you have to have a conversation with a person to find out what happened along the road to them getting to their quote unquote mental illness diagnosis or the severity of it. I think it's extremely damaging and irresponsible to tell somebody who's schizophrenic that they're possessed with a demon. I also think that it's very irresponsible to not consider that there could be something spiritual going on when a person is experiencing some type of very far-fetched. A lot of schizophrenics have spiritual implications in their ruminations, which is like I'm constantly repeating things, or I feel like I'm talking to God, or I feel like a spirit came and talked to me, or I feel like I saw this person, or I saw this. A lot of hallucinations for schizophrenics are based in some sort of spiritual.
Yeah, and that's
not by chance.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
something like valid there.
Yeah,
because
so all spiritual beings. So
exactly,
there has to be something to connect to it, despite the religion that you ascribe to. So I'm learning the balance between the two, because all of my clients are not Christians. They are, and all of them don't even understand what the supernatural, what the spiritual realm looks like. So talking to them like that is like, I just want my medication.
Talking to a wall. Talking to that brick wall.
Jesus is the devil. Which one is it? I don't know. But it's a sensitive balance. I feel like we have to be very careful as Christians, as the church, have to be very careful about labeling people with that kind of stuff, because it get real sticky real quick.
Yeah, honestly, that would kind of scare me. Like if I'm sitting there just telling you like, hey, I'm depressed, like I don't feel like getting out of bed, and you sitting there like, oh, that's because a demon's sitting on your chest. Like, oh, like should I move? Like, what? Like, do I need to switch apartments?
Yeah,
it's like.
But I just had to take some Pepto-Bismol. I thought.
I just thought I needed a cup of tea before I go to sleep every night. I don't know, but wow, who would have thought? But when you think about stuff like that, because you said like in your experience, like the people you've dealt with, like with schizophrenia, they have like some part of like a faith aspect, like a faith component part of that. Yeah, and like I was telling them on the last episode, my experience with the Shadow Man is the experience that a high percentage of society have dealt with. Yeah. So it's like there has to be some realm that connects the mind, body, and the spirit, where all of our spirits are kind of like connected and experiencing the same things. Like they say, even dreaming about someone is them dreaming about you too. That's how y'all connect. If someone appears in your dream, like you appeared in their dream. So it's a lot of different connections that we kind of experience and face. Like at one point I was studying to like be a ghost hunter, and like I was studying like occults and all of that stuff. Like, and they talked about that. It was like bipolar schizophrenia. Like it could be demons or stuff like that. So it's a very interesting rabbit hole. Listen, I'm too scared to be a ghost hunter. I had my ghost hunting experience when I went to Savannah, and it was fun.
I have to talk about after this episode.
I know. So much. We gotta catch up.
Talk about Strawberry Passion and strip club. We talking about
Strawberry Passion.
Ghost busting.
Hey, fun fact. Well, not a fun fact. Well, fun fact about my life. When I went to go see Strawberry Passion in the strip club, she performed to Wicked Games by The Weeknd. Yep. So
What a
just
fun
imagine. It's a fun fact about my life.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun fact about me. Not about you, about me.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have anything else on the main caviar y'all feel we should touch on? Because we
I
covered a
feel like
lot
we covered
with it.
everything.
Like
Did y'all see Venom?
I have not seen it yet.
I've seen the
Yeah.
second one, not yet. I gotta see it though.
Oh man, I feel like it would work really great into this conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
We'll talk. We'll talk. All right. So before we go, a little fun segment that we can add into the end is our movie villain. Because we did not have time to get it in last episode, I definitely want us to go through a few quick matchups. What y'all think?
Definitely. God,
Sounds
yes.
like a move.
It's a move. Okay, so let's start off with something fun. So when I came up with this matchup, I was thinking about people that fuel nightmares, literally. So for our first matchup, I have Pennywise from It versus Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, for the everyone, I didn't think of this matchup as like a physical fight, like they finna meet up in the box. I thought of it as something like this versus is more so who's gonna rack up the body count, who is going to strike fear into their audience, and who is gonna be the most difficult to get rid of at the end of the day. So we got Pennywise and Freddy Krueger. What y'all think?
Because I personally, they're both interesting because Pennywise feeds off of your fears.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be like putting me out in the middle of the ocean, like with nothing around. So like I would instantly have a heart attack and die. But Freddy Krueger, first of all, he's a pedophile, so you know you got that going on. And then you can't go to sleep. So
was Freddy Krueger around when R. Kelly was?
That's a good matchup too.
Freddy Krueger versus R. Kelly. Wow.
Freddy and Sylvester.
Freddie and Sylvester. Oh,
but
that's sick.
my money's still gonna be on Freddy Krueger. You're gonna definitely get more bodies.
Okay. Jeron, what you thinking? What you think?
Freddy Krueger, 100%. Because with Pennywise, he only attacks kids, and once the kids understand that it's fear that he feeds on, and they're just gonna stop being scared. Or the movie. Just stop being scared. Then it's probably gonna be like a group chat. Everybody gonna be in the group chat like, "Hey, this how you be Pennywise." It's gonna be on social media. They're gonna be
on TikTok.
Pennywise. Exactly. It's gonna go around the whole.
It's gonna be a TikTok challenge. Hey, I'm scared of Pennywise.
Like nigga ain't scared of Pennywise. Look at Pennywise. Nigga a clown.
They gonna start checking on. Hey, he cannot. Pennywise ain't gonna make it.
It's a wrap. The Cougar, he gonna get you when you sleep.
Yeah,
he killing adults. He killed Joanna Man. So I think that in itself, I think Freddy got it.
I agree. For one thing, Freddy and Pennywise kind of are rooted in the same aspect of as long as you don't fear them, they kind of lose their power in a sense. Now, Freddy. The thing with him is like a lot of the kids, the adults in that town work to make the kids forget about. So as long as Freddy was not to be thought of or remembered, he couldn't appear. Now, I feel like Freddy's going to rack up the bodies simply because you got to sleep. You can't
avoid that.
You can't avoid that. And it wasn't the sleep. It was the dreaming part. But you gonna dream. You dream all night.
You get a day break from Pennywise. He'll leave you alone for like 8 hours.
Yeah, because he got a bunch of other kids. But if you sleep,
Freddy always gonna be
dreaming,
there. So.
Facts, especially after you leave like brunch or something, it's over with. Like it's over with after I leave brunch. Freddy got me. Them bottomless mimosas. Yeah, Freddy.
Mimosas was hitting, huh?
See, that's what he gonna be like. The mimosas was hitting. Got to. All right, so our first matchup goes to Freddy Krueger. Next up, this next matchup I feel like was really fun for me to think about. I got Jason Voorhees versus Mr. Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm gonna give it to Jason. You gotta rev up a chainsaw. Like that's gonna take too much time. Like you run out of gas. It puts gas up in there. No, you gotta like, what if it don't start? And then I'm gonna laugh at you like, nigga, you can't kill me.
Oh
Like,
yeah, nigga taking the L.
Swinging back and forth. And Jason was on track team, so he always gonna get
I
everybody.
was just gonna say, Jason was a 5-star athlete. He could have played for Jackson, honestly.
Yeah. Then Jason got his mama too, so they double team people.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, but Leatherface had that whole family, this whole mutant family in Texas.
And fuck that family.
They was OD, and the sheriff was in on it too. A lot going on. Jeron, what you think?
The Leatherface, right? He was a menace in Texas.
Yes.
Move Leatherface to Florida. I don't think he get the same bodies. He might be scared of the beach. He might be scared of Topless Tuesdays. You take him to New Orleans, he's gonna be scared of the beads.
Yeah.
Go to California.
Oh wow.
So he's gonna be scared of like LeBron. So I feel like he lived in Texas. That's his home front in Texas. So you take him to an away game, he gonna be confused.
No way.
He can't go to Montana.
I like the analogies.
He can't go to Montana and kill nobody. It's mountains. He don't know how to get up no mountains. He gonna fall on his chainsaw.
He gonna fall on his chainsaw.
Jason followed Jamie Lee Curtis around multiple times.
Wait, that's Michael Myers.
Oh, totally.
Damn, was he talking about Michael Myers the whole time? Damn. Oh, jeez.
Yep. That's my choice. That's
okay.
That's my choice. Right? Yeah.
So, for me, Jason is definitely like very athletic. Like I said, the guy was on every team at Camp Crystal Lake. And he's very relentless and this nigga throws spears, shoots bow and arrows. He has a freaking machete, so he has stealth on his side. Leatherface, I felt like was a good matchup because again, he's as well. He has this mutant incest Alabama strength, right? And I'm sorry, Texas.
You were trying to offend me, but it didn't work. Moving on.
Talking to a brick wall. Nope. So
strength right there.
But Leatherface also has that chainsaw. But at the end of the day, Jason has stealth on
the
side.
Chainsaw break down, what you gonna do? What if one of
the chainsaw is loud, so like people only got caught slipping on Texas Chainsaw Massacre just from being stupid. Like that was just pure plot. But Jason, I really felt like in Friday the 13th, he really was sneaking up on people. He was really catching you slipping. You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody was having sex, so that's what it is.
Hey, that's how you get caught slipping.
That's how you get caught slipping. You get caught with your pants down. So matchup number 2 goes to Mr. Jason. Okay, so I played around with this next one a little bit. Valak from The Nun versus the lipstick face demon from Insidious. And if you don't know who the lipstick face demon, the red face demon.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's my nigga.
That was his official name, the lipstick face demon. I don't know why.
That's a gay ass name. I don't know, because I feel like we didn't get to see the Insidious demon like in fullness. You know what I'm saying? Like we only saw him in like bits and pieces. He barely got Dalton, like barely. Like
well, he was like the main factor constructing everything that Dalton went through, like in the first movie. I would say he was like running all the spirits basically.
I'm gonna give it to Valak. Valak was tricky. Like he got the priest in the ground, and I wouldn't even know how that happened. And he woke up and he was shaking the bell. I was like, "What the fuck?" When I closed my eyes, and
hey, that was so funny though. He was like in the call, ringing. Like, bro, I would get at the Valak too. Just off of like her being the nun, being like real. She was the nun. Okay?
And it plays on your religion, like you said. So you think you're gonna trust?
Definitely. A nun, yeah. Jeron, would you agree?
Disrespect.
I fool with the red face man. I fool with him. That was arguably the greatest jump scare in the history of jump scares.
And that's what's gonna get him. You're not gonna see it coming.
at
the
all.
the nun. She was down the hall. She was sitting there looking
She got
at
that
him
music.
and
she
walked
got
away.
that music.
No, you gonna see the nun. You gonna see Valak.
Yeah.
You gonna see him coming. You gonna fight Valak. You're not gonna fight my what's his name? Lipstick. We gonna name him
The lipstick demon.
the Crimson Terror.
I like red face demon better. Like red face is better than
We
lipstick.
gonna name
Like
him
that's
the Crimson
whoever said
Terror.
lipstick was.
He looked like him from Powerpuff Girls. That's what he looked like.
That's a good one.
Oh man.
It's my favorite.
But Jeron, at the
Crimson
end of the
Terror,
day,
man.
I can
You're not gonna
agree.
see it coming.
Yeah, I can agree with that because like in the movie, scare itself was a misdirect because they opened the door and saw him standing by the bed next to Dalton, and then like in the next scene, bam, he right there. So it's a lot. It is a lot of elements going with that. Valak, you do, and I mentioned this in episode 1 season. Like I would have chose Valak over Annabelle because Valak, you see her all out in the open. She be on her like, hey, I'm here to haunt you and kill you. Like, I just need you to understand. Everybody else be on that petty stuff. So, I don't know. I get the Valak, though. Valak out there.
I'm just racking up points around here. Just
Ain't no points. Nobody wins.
points.
All right, last matchup. Because these two villains here kind of rocked a small portion of the black community growing up. So we have Candyman versus Jeepers Creepers.
Okay.
Off rip, I'm gonna say Jeepers Creepers. He's an alien, whatever he is. He's like he otherworldly, literally. This man flew through a bus full of niggas and white people.
I do think that Jeepers Creepers will rack up more people because as Candyman, you have to. I think it takes a while for you to believe in him, and it takes a while for him to get you. So while it's taking all this time,
I mean, as long as you don't say Candyman 5 times, you good. As long as you don't say his name 5 times.
We said Candyman about 4 times already, so I don't know how you feeling.
Shit, this gotta be from one person though. I think
get
that's
us the last time, so
right. We'll cut it off before we get there. He didn't get that man a chance. Jared, what you thinking?
I would have said Candyman at first because the Jeepers Creepers demon was every 27 years or something like that.
Every 28 years for 28 days.
Initially, I would have given it to Candyman, but the fact that he was so attached to a white woman, and I get it, you know what I'm saying, but if he get attached to somebody else, he's just gonna go after them.
Go after them.
It ain't gonna be a bite, it's just gonna be them. I feel like with Jeepers Creepers, he gonna go out, he gonna try to get everything. He did it in
anybody.
the movie.
It's anybody game. Yeah.
Anybody he can get a hold of for them 28 days. So he definitely gonna have Candyman probably have one. Then Jeepers Creepers probably gonna rack up at least about 150.
Yeah, because Jeepers Creepers was going through whole police stations, like in his movie. I definitely agree. I had to go with Jeepers Creepers on that last matchup as well. Well, y'all, it has been a fun time today. Like, this was a very meaningful and very impactful episode. Honestly, like I said earlier, when I was planning this, I did not expect to get the content I got out of it. And I'm really happy. Nadia, how did you enjoy your first experience with the Caviar Club?
Sensational. Nah, for real. Cool. I enjoyed this for real. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah,
good
definitely.
Conversation. Good having you.
Yeah, it was great. I really feel like this was a great episode. Bree, Jeron, how y'all feeling?
Good. It was a good one. Good conversation. Good vibes flowing.
Good vibes. Yeah.
Sure. Definitely informative for me. Who's not too. I ain't gonna say I don't dwell deep into spirituality.
You gonna watch Lion King after this conversation?
Probably.
He's definitely going. He's definitely going straight to Disney Plus.
He's gonna definitely watch Jurassic Park.
I watched it 2 times earlier today. I'm gonna watch it again before I go to sleep.
Same day. That movie like 2.5 hours long. What do you really do all day? Like just watch Jurassic.
Just watch Jurassic Park. That's it.
Beyond.
Man, thank you guys. Because I'm getting straight on Housewives. Guys, thank y'all once again for another great episode, another chance for us to just create good vibes and create a space for people to do all different aspects of culture. I really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed recording Spooky Season, and we have one more episode left of Spooky Season. And I don't know about y'all, but I got my Ouija board ready for the last episode. And we finna get these seances jumped off. I got some good. I got black sage. I did not get white sage. Black sage, and I even got those candles that when you ask the spirit to like give me a sign, it just blow out.
Right.
So they do that. I don't have all of that. I'm finna end up recording by myself again, and we saw how that worked out. Guys, thank Nadia for joining us once again.
Excuse me for having me. Don't thank me. You guys for taking me to the caviar closet.
Yeah. Well, I have nothing else left for the people, so I'm going to say, have a great day, Caviar Club. It's been fun. It's been great. This is OT from the Culture Caviar podcast signing off. That was so anticlimactic. Oh my God. Bye, people.
Thank you for listening to the Culture Caviar Podcast. Be sure to check us out on IG at Culture Caviar Podcast and Twitter at Culture_Caviar. Subscribe and leave a 5-star review as well. We'll see you here next time.